Hello, welcome to the interview here on France 24. He's been called the accidental candidate, a little-known Islamist who was catapulted to the leading ranks of Egypt's presidential race after the Muslim Brotherhood's first choice was disqualified. Now, Mohamed Morsi is Egypt's president. And millions of Egyptians, and the world as well, are asking whether a man who has argued in favor of banning non-Muslims and women from the presidency can really be a leader for all Egyptians, as he insists he can. Now, my guest today is Father Henri Boulad. Welcome to our studios.
Thank you.
You are wary about Mohamed Morsi's victory. You supported Ahmed Shafiq, who was the last prime minister under Hosni Mubarak. You are today the rector, the former rector of the Jesuit College in Cairo. You're the current vice chairman of the Jesuit Cultural Center in Alexandria, also very prominent in charitable work across the Middle East. I want to start by asking you, you last year said before this election, you saw Islamism as the new fascism. You today have an Islamist, Mohamed Morsi, in power. You have a fascist in power then in Egypt.
I'm very much afraid that it may be true, but not immediately. In the long run, the Islamists count on time. They have time. They implement their program step by step. And then at the beginning, they proclaim that there is no contradiction between Islamism and democracy, which cannot be true, because Islamism is based on Sharia law and democracy is based on human law.
So and this is what Mohamed Morsi has been saying. He's been reassuring everyone, there's no contradiction. I can be an Islamist, I can be a Democrat. You say he's lying, essentially.
He is lying because it's his right to lie, because there is in Islam what is called the taqiyya. The taqiyya is the right and the duty to lie if it's for the benefit of Islam. So, not saying the truth is not something wrong. If you go throughout the long history of Egypt and Islam, you will find that when you have a goal, you can take whatever means which leads to your aim. If the aim is correct,
if we say if the end justifies the means. So what you're saying is, even if he's lying, or we think he's lying, in his own mind, he's doing the right thing under Islam.
In his opinion, yes, he is doing the right thing. But I doubt that Islam could be an answer. Islamism or Islam could be an answer to the present situation. Sharia law has no answers to the problem of economy and tourism and freedom and education. It's a catastrophe.
Do you see the possibility, though, that now that Mohamed Morsi is in power, he's president, he will have to become more moderate? Perhaps he will have to become his own man, independent of the Muslim Brotherhood.
He will come, no, independently from the Muslim Brotherhood, I doubt. He will receive all his directives from the supreme guide of the Muslim Brotherhood, Mohamed Badia. Mohamed Badia will give him instructions every day, what to do, what to say. So, and the whole Egyptian people is saying the same. We have at the top of our country not a president, but somebody who is speaking in the name of the Muslim Brotherhood.
Okay, so you see this as, this is something you had warned or talked about last year. You see this as the Islamists have usurped, have appropriated the revolution. The revolution no longer belongs to the young, the idealists in Tahrir Square.
Right, right. And this is why they are so disappointed. And what is coming, maybe that this election of Morsi could make Islamists milder and more pragmatic according to the situations. But they cannot be Islamist and democratic and Democrat at the same time. It's a contradiction.
The Christian community, let's talk a little bit about your community. The Christian community in general is about 10% of Egypt's population, about 8 million people, a large minority.
Yes.
You represent a part of that community, the Jesuits, who are part of the Catholic Church, separate from the Copts. I know this gets complicated here, but as a whole, the Christian community supported Shafiq. They're scared of the Islamists in power. Do you share that fear?
Actually, most of the Christians supported Shafiq, but many, many Christians, all my colleagues, Jesuit colleagues, supported Sabahi, the third one, who got
he was eliminated after the first round.
In the second round, but
he was an independent, really.
He was an independent Nasserist
from the Nasser era, exactly.
Nasser trend. So my Jesuit colleagues supported this Sabahi, and because he's for justice, he's for equality, he's a secular-minded person, and then. But most of the Christians in Egypt supported Shafiq.
You have said before in past interviews that you do not want to polarize Christians and Muslims. You believe there could be dialogue. Do you see that possible right now? Because there's a very, very, it seems, big division right now in Egyptian society. Half of Egypt was not celebrating yesterday.
I know because Christians know perfectly that on the long run they will be the losers, and maybe for a while the new president and the parliament, we don't know about the parliament what is coming, but we'll try to make a compromise with the liberals, the youth of the revolution, the Christians. But on the long run, it cannot stand. It cannot stand. There is a basic contradiction, and whatever you say, if you are faithful to your principles, are Islamists, you cannot accept democracy.
And what you're saying to me about Egypt right now and the situation there, can I assume you are also saying the same things apply to Tunisia, to Libya,
exactly,
to Iraq?
Exactly. In all these countries, a woman is not equal to a man. It's clear. It's in the Quran. A non-Muslim is not equal to a Muslim. It's clear in the Quran. So now the women are protesting in Tunisia, in Egypt, because they feel that an Islamic program would discriminate them.
That it's not possible to be a woman in a modern society and have your rights with Islamists in power.
Of course, it's impossible.
The West's approach to this election, their reaction, you've said in the past that there's an element of political correctness, that in the name of tolerance, the West is ready to accept intolerance. Explain what you meant by that.
The Muslim Brotherhood has not only as an aim to conquer power in Egypt, but in the whole world. They refuse what we call states or nations in the modern sense. There is no such thing as states. These are heresies in the Muslim mind. There is only one entity, which is the world, the Ummah Arabiya. It's the whole Islamic community in the whole world, which suppress any kind of division, which we call states.
So basically what you're saying is someone like Mohamed Morsi ultimately wants to have almost a caliphate.
Exactly.
And it's interesting because we were speaking briefly before this show. You said that the Muslim Caliphate fell in 1924. The Muslim Brotherhood was formed in 1928, 4 years later. You essentially are suggesting the Brotherhood replaced the Caliphate.
Not replaced, but would prepare a new caliphate, and they proclaimed it 2 weeks ago that this caliphate, its capital would be Jerusalem. No more Constantinople or Istanbul, but Jerusalem. So the revival of the caliphate is the Ummah Arabiya is a clear goal, and Morsi is just a first step
towards
to it.
this is it. Forgive me, but it sounds very pessimistic, a lot of what you're saying. I'm trying to understand very briefly, do you see any room for a future of coexistence in the Middle East for a community, a Christian community such as yours?
No.
But you've stayed all of these years.
Yes, because the Islamists were not in power. Now they are in power.
So, but are you going to remain? Are you going to remain in Egypt now? Are you going to continue?
I am continue to fight until the end. If I'm killed, I'm killed. I don't mind. But the Muslim Brotherhood is taking power in Tunisia, in Egypt. The Hamas is fighting. Soon, probably in Syria. Who knows? So finally, the implementing of this Islamic system in all the Middle East is the beginning of the conquest of the West, which has started a few years ago.
A few years ago. Father Boulad, Henri Boulad, thank you for joining us today from the former rector, Jesuit College, Cairo, current vice chairman of the Jesuit Cultural Center in Alexandria. Some slightly pessimistic, gloomy words, but that you see the Christian community really under threat right now across the Middle East, not just in Egypt. Thanks for joining us today and sharing your thoughts. Thanks to all of you for watching the interview on France 24.